What am I to do?
Welcome to He Said, She Said Razor Branding Podcast with Michael Russo and Jaci Russo. To learn more about how to improve your brand, visit brandRUSSO.com.
Michael, our guest today is Linda Richardson with Bluestream Fiber. And when I look at B2B marketing and how impactful it can be, she's walking the walk and talking the talk. You know, they have this real strong presence in Florida. They've made the move into Texas. And to talk to her, you know, before this episode and during this episode about the challenges that they've been through, it's awesome. And I love the work they do to really track what's working, to get to know their market. It's a handbook of how to do it right.
Yeah, and it's a very different way of marketing too. What's kind of learned about the business, it's not a mass marketing play. It's not they're very direct. They're very pinpointed on who they're talking to, account-based marketing in a way, but understanding the area, understanding who they want, what they're providing, understanding who they are.
Yep.
And so, everything done right. And, it's not surprising that they're successful because of it.
Right. No, I mean, a 99% retention rate tells you they're marketing to the right people. They're with the right people. They're serving them the right way.
The right product, definitely.
Yeah, no. And you nailed it. It is definitely some account-based marketing and it's just a true B2B play. And so that's the people we talk to and those are the lessons we learn. So y'all stick around and listen to Linda because she's got some good stuff for you. That was good.
No, I think it was fine.
Why? Why? You are going to do this from now on. You're going to be in charge. Why do you make this so complicated?
No, this is funny though, because you did most of the talking during the whole thing.
Well, because I paused and you didn't speak, so I spoke.
There was no room to talk. You were all in. You were like fangirling her. You're like, oh my God,
yes.
marketing.
A good marketing director, I am a fan of.
I know.
Every time.
You could tell, and she had it all together. So. Anyway,
this is the stuff you're going to tell me that you take out and they end up leaving in, right?
I haven't been editing these.
Reagan's
been editing, so we'll see what she does.
Well, we'll all be surprised, won't we?
When the day is through.
Linda, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad to have you. And for those of you who are just tuning in, what you did not hear backstage as we were prepping was Michael going through a 15-point audio file checklist to make sure that Linda sounded as good as she does now. But man, now you sound great.
And that's awesome. And it was a click of a little button.
Isn't it always?
Microphone.
Isn't it always? So we're recording this the day after Amazon Web Services had a massive outage. And because you at Bluestream rely on internet and deal with internet and all of the world now is internet reliant, how much does that strike fear in the heart of everyone in your building when things like an AWS downage happens? I know it's not on the list of questions I sent you, but it's timely and it gave me pause all day yesterday. What works? What doesn't work? I mean,
or even if it doesn't have anything to do with you, but people are probably still calling like, hey, how do I fix this?
Right. And even our day-to-day, like how I do business, we're working in Smartsheets. Smartsheets isn't working. My daughter was in Miami. I couldn't get her on Life 360 to see where she was. Like it affected everybody from every avenue. I mean, we're always aware of the service that we give customers is internet. It's their lifeline and them having a safe, secure place to go. It's table stakes, right? You have to do this now. There's no choice. Luckily, I mean, for the most part, I think we all made it through that one okay. CrowdStrike was another one that made me really, really nervous, right?
We were flying that day. Michael and I were flying from Michigan back to Louisiana. We were like, wait, what? What's happening?
Right. I mean, we can go down at any time. That's reality. This is the world we live in today.
Right. No, that's scary. So let's talk a little bit about Bluestream Fiber and what y'all do. You're primarily based in Florida. That's kind of been your backyard this whole time. Y'all made the strategic decision to expand into Texas, specifically into Houston. So from a marketing perspective, what's that like when you start in a whole new market with people who do not know who you are and go? What do you do?
You're starting from scratch, right?
Yes.
So here's the hard part is we're not your traditional internet provider where you moved into a home and you're like, you've got 3 choices and we're just one of them. We're an internet provider for a whole community. We do bulk contracts And if you're not in Florida, outside of Florida, people don't get a bulk contract. So not only were we moving into a new market, we were moving into a new market. One, they didn't know who we were, so there was no branding. Two, they really don't understand the concept or the value of bulking your broadband provided services. So it was a double whammy. Plus, there's data, right? Like you have to have data. You have to know who your target is. And in Florida, there are state laws where you have to submit who are on the boards of these communities. In Texas, there is no policy like that. So you're a needle in a haystack. You are just digging through and trying to find, okay, what communities don't have bulk fiber internet? Who are the board members
of the
Who do
HOA?
we go of the HOA, right? Like that list just doesn't exist. So we were completely starting from scratch. To add to that, the board members in Texas, totally different than a board member in Florida. I mean, everyone can take the educated guess of what a board member in Florida looks like, right?
Are they perhaps older than 50?
Perhaps.
Are they
Maybe
perhaps from the north
retired?
and they've moved down to Florida for their retirement?
Yes. Perhaps, yes. But you don't find that in Texas. It's so completely different. I was talking to a lady that works for like a sister company to us. She's the vice president, younger than me, of marketing for her company. She is the vice president of her HOA. It's a different customer.
Right.
And they have different bylaws. So you add that to it. So everything, we just had to turn it all up on its head and figure out, how do we communicate? What are they going to connect with? How do we bring brand awareness? It was starting from scratch.
Right.
And we learned a lot. And we know a little bit of how to go into the next city.
Right.
I have I have a question just to back up a little bit and pretend like I did not have a brief and I do not know anything about your company. Tell me.
Okay.
Or pretend like he did have it, but he didn't look at it. That's so closer to true.
It's not because I didn't care. I just had a really crazy day. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, there's a podcast on the schedule in one of those days. But anyway, but I am curious, how do you get into this? Like, is this something that you started? Like, I'm just curious, like, how did you do this?
The gentleman that was our previous CEO, when he came into the organization, we were just a traditional internet provider in 2 little towns in Florida. He's like, I can grow this. And he'd had experience with previous internet companies where they were kind of doing this bulk contract. And he went to this rather large retirement community in South Florida and talked to them. And he got them to sign a contract and come with this small company that was learning its way and trusted us. And we have grown with them ever since. And so once you get that first one, then it kind of just evolves. So when I came into the organization, there was no marketing department. There was a guy that was working part-time up in the Northeast. He was a consultant. And so the CEO and a couple other people were just trying to do marketing stuff. And that was wild. But we knew we had something. We knew we could grow it throughout the rest of the state of Florida. Like we were just bottom half of the state of Florida. And we knew we could get up there, but we had challenges. People still didn't know who we were outside of Coral Springs and Weston, South Florida. So we had to do this even from the get-go in Florida. I went to the CEO when I started. I went to the board and I said, do you have an awareness problem? Nobody knows who you are. When our salespeople walk into these communities, they say, blue who? That's what I heard all the time. Blue who? And I was like, we need to go do something. And I need some money. And I'm going to prove to you that if you spend your marketing funds wisely, we will grow business. Yeah. So we tested a market. We did everything. We did newspaper. Again, retirees.
Right.
5 years ago, still reading newspapers, right? We did radio. We did television. We did print. We did billboards. Those didn't work. That's okay. So we learned our way. We did digital, and sales were walking into communities and they were like, oh, we know you. We saw you. We heard you. we know who you are. And we were invited to the table to bid. And so we quickly saw that that spend was worth it and was giving us a seat at the table.
Yeah, I love that. So let's go back to, because you said something I think is really important. Traditional media, people like to declare its death. And yet there are times when the right audience is the right fit. So stop making decisions based on what you like or don't like, but maybe what your audience still participates in. And then let's talk a little bit about tracking. How'd you know Billboard wasn't working for you, but the others were? What tools did you use to deduce that?
A lot of it was word of mouth, what we were hearing from the board members when they did engage. So digital was easy. Sent them to a form fill. They filled out a form fill. We knew that worked. We got feedback that they saw us on television. I may have put a commercial on during a hot football game or something. We also did for radio. You know what we did for radio? Because again, think about your audience. We did weather and news sponsorships.
Oh, yeah.
Traffic, right?
Oh, yeah.
Who's listening to the radio?
Well, especially during hurricane season and sports seasons. Those two seasons, everybody in Florida and Texas are listening to the radio.
Still, yeah. Print was unique phone numbers. So we knew if we got a call, like everything we tried to do was track. The one thing I didn't hear a single thing about, and it's hard to track, is Billboard.
Yeah.
And so that was okay. Well, you know what? I can't tie anything back to it because you still have to tie. It's hard.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Otherwise hard.
Right.
And so when we decided and I got approval to move up the rest of the state and do the same thing, that was one of the things we pulled back on. The other one also was print, though, because we did this in Southwest Florida. There's a high concentration of retirees in reading the papers.
Yes.
And so that was like another area that we're like, okay, if we go further up in the state, you maybe not have as many people reading those little local mags and newspapers. For
our listeners, newspaper is something that is printed and delivered to your house every day. It's large paper, get a little bit of ink on your fingers. It's a late 1900s thing, but it does still happen in some towns.
Do you ever, like, I'll go on a walk and sometimes I'll see a newspaper sitting in somebody's driveway and I'm like, oh, this still happens.
Wait, I showed Michael a picture the other day. We were at a University of Louisiana Raging Cajuns football game, and I was, it was pregame. I'm scrolling through social media, and somebody posted a picture of, drum roll, a phone book that had just been delivered to their house. And I'm not sure what I'm more shocked by, that someone picked it up and brought it inside instead of just bringing it straight to the recycle bin, that somebody still prints the phone book, that some people still pay to advertise in the phone book, or that phone books exist at all, like phone numbers and addresses just for the whole world to see.
It's amazing. You know what else is making its way back? Landline phones.
What?
Yes. Have you not heard this? Today's show did something like last month on it, that instead of giving their tweens cell phones with access to the whole wide world web and everything else, they're bringing back landlines because that, like, you want to communicate. Yeah, I want you to communicate. I want you to be in touch with family and your friends. And so landlines, they're making a comeback.
The Russo kids were trendsetters. Not only did we have a landline when they were in high school, but it was a rotary dial just for fun.
Oh, just for fun. Good times.
It pissed them off. They were like, this is dumb.
But you put that in front of a teenager today, they won't know how to use it.
Mind exploded. Yeah.
Well, just having phone calls. I mean, I think they're adverse to making phone calls. I mean, like if you can't text or you can't, like, I have to speak to someone. I have to.
Right.
I mean, I remember Jackie with the kids. It was like forcing them to go to the counter and ask for something, or forcing them, like they were like, you have to do it yourself. If you can't do it yourself, then it's not happening. And I think it was a great life skill because they fought it. I mean, it was like, I don't want to do that. You do it.
I remember one of the kids was probably 8th or 9th grade and needed a book for school. And I said, well, call Barnes and Noble and see if it's in stock. No, let's just drive there. I'm like, I'm not driving across town. It's, literally the other side of town. It was 5 o'clock traffic. I said, I'm not driving there unless I know it's there. You need to call. Was there a website I can go to? I'm like, no, call. So then they're like, they don't have the book. I said, I have a hard time believing that Barnes and Noble doesn't have Of Mice and Men or whatever the book was. So I called. Lo and behold, shockingly, the Russo child had lied. They, in fact, did have the book. The kid just didn't want to make the phone call. So then I made them make the phone call and confirm that there was the book. Then we had to drive there, and then they had to go ask for it behind the counter. It was a whole lesson in talking to humans.
True story. Long day.
Long
day
day.
for everybody.
Long day. Yeah.
By the way, when you were talking about walking through the neighborhood, I don't know if it's probably really bad on me, but you said when you're walking through the neighborhood, you look down and see a paper. I thought you were going to say, and you just want to reach down and grab it and take it. I was like, that's what I was thinking.
Why is that your reaction? Why are you robbing our neighbors?
I don't know. Then I thought, yeah, that is wrong because somebody actually paid for it because I haven't seen a paper in forever, but I kind of like the idea of having it. I used to love opening a paper. I love the Sunday paper, the big giant one, and just something, you just don't do anymore. But
any idea how much that costs today?
No, how much?
I don't know. I think it's over $2 a paper. Like last time I checked, it was like getting close to $2 a paper on a Sunday.
And I bet it's not that big anymore. It's not that super thick paper like it used to be.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But Michael, if you want to get the paper at the house, I'll subscribe.
Yeah, probably not.
Because you have to actually open it and read it, or I would cancel the subscription. And I like
the idea of it. I'm not saying I would actually do it.
Right.
It's like having a book in the library. I have so many books up here that I haven't read. You keep giving me books, and they just sit there. They look good. They're like marketing.
They're for reading, not for looking. But okay.
I absorbed the information. I was curious about you guys. I know you said you kind of did neighborhoods and such. But it sounds like you moved into just individual. Like if you're in the area, anybody can sign up, right? So you're not just targeting
neighborhoods.
Neighborhoods only. Yeah.
So within the neighborhoods, and then once you're in the neighborhood, you still have to go in and sell to the individual subscribers, or it's just part of the deal.
Right, it's part of the deal. So if you've ever been in a community or a home where you have an HOA and you have HOA dues, sometimes those dues are inclusive of your internet or maybe your garbage, or your water or lawn maintenance. We go in as the internet provider to include that as a part of the HOA. So we get paid by the community, and therefore, we'll go in, we'll invest, we'll build fiber, and then we sign a contract first, and then we'll build fiber. We get all the residents to sign up and have service with us, and we service that community. So we get all of the residents in that neighborhood, and that helps us cover our costs to build out the fiber.
So your marketing audience got a lot smaller in my head now. So you're not trying to talk to everybody. You're talking to municipalities. You're talking to HOAs. You're talking to small groups and neighborhood developers and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, builders, developers, asset managers, and owners, property managers, and then all of your HOA board members, condo association board members. So yeah, it is highly targeted.
And it's a great sell too. I mean, I know, like Jackie's mentioned, we do work for our local municipality. They our city owns its own fiber network, and which is
for 20 years now.
Yeah,
20 years ago,
that's awesome.
We passed a tax and we made it a utility, so everybody has access to fiber to the home.
We're talking to a couple of cities.
Yeah,
which I think will be interesting.
These days, it's as necessary as electricity and water and gas.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, we have so many countless stories. We've had kind of a boom in our area, our town, in the past 10, 20 years. And a lot of, especially in the last 5 years, tech companies, a lot of big companies have come here. And one of the deciding factors was that we had fiber. That it was there. It wasn't the deciding factor, but it was a deciding factor. It was like, and I can imagine that as a huge sell point for developers and neighborhoods. Hey, come move here. We have this. This is something you don't have to worry about. This is an infrastructure deal. It's just part of your whatever. It becomes a utility, like a mainstay. It's no longer a special thing. It's like, oh well, I expect it almost.
You do. And imagine like if you've got two communities sitting next door to each other and you're trying to decide as a family or retiree couple kind of going, where are we going to go? Well, this one has fiber and this one doesn't. I work from home. I need fiber internet, right? And the value of it, like instead of us competing for every single home in a neighborhood, you're guaranteed. And if you're guaranteed, you can drop your rates. So what you're spending on retail, when you bulk it, it actually almost cuts in half. Wow. So if you're spending $100 for a gig, if you bulked the contract, you can be getting it for $50, even less.
Right.
So the value is there. People just struggle with, well, you've taken away my choice. yeah, but I've also saved you like $600 a year. So let's talk
Hmm.
about that choice.
Right. Well, and you don't have, I mean, I would imagine they don't have a choice for who provides their water.
Right.
They don't have a
Or
choice for who
sometimes
provides their
electric.
electricity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Fiber is a utility. It is just as vital and important to everyday life now as the other utilities.
Yes. And we're all competing to get that contract. So, other companies like ours. So we're all putting our best foot forward. It's not like you're going in there going, there's no competition here. I can charge them whatever. No, there's competition to get that contract. And so you're putting the best rate out there.
Right.
And then it's all about the service because you want to maintain that contract. So you've got to make sure that you're taken care of and you're building, you're investing. Company, we are investing in these neighborhoods. We're going to put our best foot forward.
Right.
When you talk about competitors, I'm sorry, Jack. It's
You're
like,
good.
are you dealing with just other companies like yours, regional independent providers versus the Coxes of the world and the giants kind of thing? So it's a lot of noise in that space, right?
There is, and it's both. So there are other competitors like us that this is all that they do. And then we've got Comcast, Xfinity, right? AT&T, Cox, Spectrum, all the big guys. There's something to be said about the little guy coming to the plate because guess what? Like you're most important to us, and there's not a lot of bureaucratic red tape. We're going to
Avis,
go
we
put
try
our
harder.
best foot forward. Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to circle around to the marketing part as Michael's gotten caught up on your business model. And so you're making the move from Florida to Texas. We've talked about the challenges that were inherent in that. What specific changes did you make to messaging or to tactics? I mean, did you basically take the Florida marketing plan and say, we're going to adapt it for Texas? Did you start scratch? Where did you start with interviewing or talking to people to get a sense of what their misconceptions or hesitations were? Like, how did you start with the, we're going to go conquer a new territory?
Well, we first thought like, oh, we know what we're doing. We've done this in Florida. We could just do this in Texas. And we did a survey. So we went out and we did some surveys. We talked to some folks that live in the area. We actually hired some folks that live in the area, and we learned like this isn't Florida. This is not a rinse and repeat. You have to go in with a different message. You have to go in with education, not just brand awareness, but education too. We hired a local marketing manager who understood the area. We hired a local PR agency. And I had to tell you, that was probably one of the best moves that we made because they understood the politics. They understood city governments. They understood who the players were. They were heavily invested in real estate builders, developers. They've done work in that area. So they had a good understanding of our business, but they knew who we needed to get in front of. And that survey too, that gave us a lot of information about your demographic being younger and maybe what was more important to them, the valuation of their homes, speed, reliability. That's all important. We all do that, right? But we weren't talking to a retiree that was trying to run his board. Right. We were talking to a full-time professional that was also trying to juggle family, life, a career, and being a board member.
Right.
And so, and that doesn't know bulk, doesn't know even that terminology.
Right.
We were starting from scratch and nobody knew who we were. So we were really starting from scratch, right? And so that PR agency really, really helped us. One of the things that we did right away that kind of helped just lift us up and bring that awareness is some things are so simple. We did a Good Day Houston. Mm-hmm. So, like an ABC or a CBS, NBC, they do those afternoon. Immediately. We were barely out of the studio and we were getting calls. We put the CEO on. He did such a great job. But it was those little things, joining some of the larger chambers. The PR agency was able to direct us that way. They knew like Houston Business Journal. They knew the technology writers. So they really helped get our name out there quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that we had to do was prove to the community that we were here to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Like hiring local.
Right.
We got a shop, like an office with a warehouse in the back, because with technology, there's equipment. So we set up shop. We were serious. We were in here to play.
Right.
So it was great to see it.
But you're checking a lot of the boxes. You found a guide through New Lands, right? Because that agency knew the place you were going. So you didn't just assume, you didn't walk in cocky like we've got this. You hired a guide to navigate through. You showed up, made yourself a part of the community, joining chambers, going on the air, letting people know you're here to stay and how to find you and being reachable, explaining how this is beneficial to them. You checked a lot of boxes and did a lot of things right. I think about years ago, and now that you spent some time in Texas, you may be familiar with Chewy's, the taco restaurant. They're like Tex-Mex.
Yes.
So they started in Austin. They're all across Texas. When they wanted to open their first Louisiana location, they are massively successful in Texas. Texas and Louisiana are like brother and sister, but they knew better than to come here and assume that what worked in Texas was going to work in Louisiana. So they hired a local agency and we got to do their grand opening. Well, we said, okay, so you're really into pets and pet rescue. We've got to be a part of the dog parade. They're like, a dog parade? I'm like, yeah, the dog parade. It's part of Mardi Gras. They've never heard of a dog parade, but all of a sudden they were a part of dog parade, and their grand opening and launch was the best they've had at any location in the country because we guided them through this new neighborhood and let them know the neighbors. And so people came out and supported. So I think that's a lot of really smart stuff y'all did. That's great.
Yeah. It's hiring that local because they know.
Yeah, absolutely.
They know, like they were like, you know what you need to do? You need to get involved with the rodeo.
Right.
We got involved with the rodeo. That wasn't cheap. And that's
No.
crazy. Have you ever been to that?
Yes.
That's the wildest thing.
It's like the
so
Super
cool.
Bowl. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
the Super Bowl.
It's like
But
the
we
Super Bowl.
did.
Yeah.
We don't know those things. We don't
Right.
know what's the hot ticket. And
Right.
we took clients there and
Right.
signed a couple of contracts. It's great.
Oh, yeah. No, people love going to that rodeo because it is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
So I'm thinking about with the HOAs, it's bulk contracts, it's HOA decision-making cycles. So your sales cycle can be really long and complex. How does marketing support that sales process and maintain some momentum during that long stretches when deals are pending, but it hasn't really happened? I mean, you just send a follow-up email every Friday, still thinking about you. I mean, like, what do you do? How do you keep that momentum going?
We've got a really good partnership with our sales team, and they've been good at telling us, like, here's my pain point. This is what the community is challenged by. We have this, we called it an association success guide. And so it's really for board members who, you want to make them the hero. You want to give them all the tools because that's what we want to do. We want to be that trusted advisor to them, give them the tools that they need to make the right decision, whether it's us or somebody else.
Right.
Doesn't really matter, but we're going to give you the tools. So in that process, sales has like, okay, they want to do a communication with their residents or they want to survey them. So we've gone out, we've even contracted surveys and done them for them, but we'll give the tools to the salespeople to continue to have that conversation. Today, it's about, what you should be doing. You should be surveying your residents, make sure they understand the value and why you want to bring fiber to the community. Or here are the questions that you should be asking all your providers. So we've got all these, I don't want to call them slicks, but they're flyers that
they're
they
tools,
turn into
they're
emails.
resource guides,
Yep.
they're knowledge bases.
Yeah.
That's all smart stuff. Yeah.
And just keep us top of mind. We do have the regular drip campaigns. Those are going to keep on going until we get a closed one and they moved into another process. But you want that one-on-one with the salespeople. And we're going to give them the tools that they need based on the conversations that they've had. We've had a lot of opportunity to make all those tools, but every once in a while we'll get a new call. I've got this challenge. Can you create something? Sure. Let's talk about it.
Right. Now in-house, you've got a team of what, about 12 people?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what's the toughest argument to make when proving ROI for marketing investments to leadership? Like if you want to expand the team or spend more money in a certain area, how do you, please, sir, may I have another? Like, how do you go get everybody to be on board with giving you money?
You can't be looked at. I mean, like this is from the very get-go. You cannot be looked at like a cost center. You are a growth engine.
Yep.
It is what you are. It is how I frame every conversation, whether it's a CEO, the CRO, the board, it doesn't matter. We are a growth engine, just like I did at the very beginning. Starting here is showing them like, listen, if you allow us to go into the market, spend some dollars, highly target, I will get you the leads, and those leads are going to convert. Mm-hmm. And as long as we can continue to show here are the leads that are coming in, we're looking at our digital leads and what our conversion was looking like. A lead that comes in through digital, so we are highly targeted, right? We're looking at a 70% conversion rate to an SQL. Like,
wow,
these people are interested. They're engaging us because they're interested. It's not us just picking somebody out of, a pile or something. These people are coming to us. We're bringing you the leads. We're targeting as many board members as we can. But when they finally reach out, they're interested.
Right.
And you're going to be able to continue. So as long as you can show that what you're doing is driving lead gen, right? That you're putting those leads in front of the sales teams to follow through. You're a growth engine. You're not a cost center.
I think there's two really important things that we just talked about that so many companies we talk to struggle with. One is a partnership with sales, your teammates. It's not antagonistic. It's not siloed. You support and work with each other. They're asking you for things. You're supplying them with things, because really one can't be successful without the other. But I see so many marketing directors and sales directors who are sabotaging each other, like siblings fighting over future inheritance. Like, you keep fighting, mom and dad are going to cut both of you off. So get with the program. Right. And the other thing that
street.
Yes, it has to be. The other thing that I love is you are every turn focused on tracking, measurement, growth engine, proving ROI. So you don't wait till the end of the year with trepidation when somebody comes asking and say, prove it. You're showing it every step along the way. And I think that is vital.
Yeah. And we're doing that right now with like Houston. So one of the tools, tactics that we're using in Florida, we're trying in Houston. It's not working.
Yeah,
it isn't. And so as much as I've gone back to our board and CEO and CRO and said, this, I know everyone really is behind this and wants this to work. It is not working. We are spending a lot of money. We need to pivot.
Yeah.
And it's a hard choice, especially when you think it's such a big part of the puzzle, to all of a sudden going, oh, this isn't working. But that's one of the great things about where I am today is we can test, trial, admit when it doesn't work, and pivot. And that's okay.
Right.
Like people have to have that permission to try something. It's not always there.
Well, and I think that's so important because not everything's going to be a home run. Far from it, right? You're going to have to string a couple singles together. A few things aren't going to work, and that's okay. And so because you've made a team out of everybody, because you're working together, people want to help you succeed. They're not looking to sabotage you. And so it all goes back to how you approach it determines how successful you're going to be with it. There's no set it and forget it here.
No. And another part that's critical in that partnership is sales is hearing this every single day when they're having these conversations.
Yeah.
So they know what the pain points are. They know what is connecting and what isn't connecting. So we can come up there. We can make great copy. But if that copy, it's not my copy, it's not my choice. It doesn't have to connect to me. It has to connect to a potential client.
Right.
Sales is the one that's going to tell us, is it connecting? Is it not connecting? What's working? What's not? What are they hearing? What do we need to change?
Right.
You have to have that conversation.
Absolutely. We often talk about clients and target audiences being unicorns, and, they are special and unique, but sometimes they're like in a herd of other unicorns. Everybody's special and unique. And so as you take the lessons from Florida to Houston, because y'all are heading to Dallas next, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So what changes now? What did you learn in Houston that's going to help you do and be better when you get to Dallas?
Data.
Yep.
Like, we have to build this database. And so we know we're going to go into Dallas. We know it's not Florida where the government's going to hand us a pretty little list of all of the board members.
Right.
We know we're going to have to go scrape some websites, do whatever to kind of start to build that list.
Right.
And then have our data miners in there getting who's on the board, how do we contact them? It starts with the data.
Right.
We're also learning from our local peeps the difference between Houston and Dallas. And do you know what I heard further now is there's a difference between Fort Worth and Dallas.
Oh yeah, there is.
And that I need to know that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you do.
But I'm gonna learn that from my
Right.
local folks.
Right.
Luckily, our PR agency have people on the ground in
Good.
Dallas too.
Yeah. Well, and then you get into like Highland Park. I mean, Dallas isn't even Dallas.
Okay, I don't even know Highland Park yet.
Grapevine. I mean, they're all,
Yeah.
it's
You
Grapevine,
will.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
Dallas, but it's all different. Yeah, we went to Fort Worth a few years ago, and I'd never actually been there, and I was kind of blown away. I really enjoyed it actually, but it's very cowboy, more cowboy than any place I've really been. Dirt roads and like, and then right across the street is Metroplex, like the
Right.
giant city, kind of thing. So it's just really kind of two sides of the coin there.
It is. We had this this iconography. It was a Wi-Fi, and on the little dot on the bottom was palm trees coming out of it. We were a Florida company. Every time we put that on something for Texas, the Houston team would just start yelling at me like, "Linda, there are no palm trees." I'm like,
No
yes,
palm
yes,
trees.
yes, I remember this.
No
So
palm
like
trees.
those are some of the changes that you also have to make, even simple changes like that you just don't think about. You're like, okay, you're
Well, and
right.
then
There are no palm
Texans are
trees.
very proud to be Texans.
Very proud to be
Yes.
Texans. But then it's the little things, because if you start putting spurs and cowboy hats on everything, it starts to look like you're pretending to be a part of the community.
Right.
And so it's a very fine line between honoring the heritage or faking it.
Right. Right. And staying true to your brand.
Yes.
Right. Like
Yes.
that's what we're working on right now, is how do you stay true to the core of the brand, which is about customer service, doing the right thing, being that trusted advisor, stay true to that, but then also kind of incorporate that local feel.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to work on and figure out. And I don't know what that local feel is for Dallas quite yet, but
Right.
we will get there.
Well, there's a TV show from the 80s you could watch. It'll tell you everything you need to know.
What was his name? Bobby?
Yeah, exactly. The Ewings.
Ewings.
The Ewings, yes.
Michael
Bobby
was
Ewing.
mildly obsessed with that show as a child. He thought he was in the Ewing family.
No, my family was. It just was on all the time, like Who Shot JR? And it was just like one of those, nighttime dramas. That, Dallas, Dynasty, it was part of that
Falcon Crest.
circle of things. Falcon Crest, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I wasn't allowed to watch it. It was above my pay grade, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch that. I watched Love Boat. We said
Sure.
I did watch Love Boat, yeah.
to a room full of people the other day, and half of them didn't know
What?
Love Boat. No.
Princess Cruises?
They don't.
Julie, the cruise
Right?
director? Captain
Isaac,
Stubing?
yeah, all
Isaac,
of
the
them.
bartender.
Yes.
He was at every bar. It didn't matter.
Yes. No,
Didn't
he
matter
was
where
the
you were
only
in the boat,
bartender.
He was at the bar.
Yeah.
I wish I had it. I took it down when I moved offices, Jackie, but I had, we went to this auction like 5 years ago, and they had a Captain Stubing, I can't remember his name, signed
Garrett
photograph.
McLeod.
Meryl.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
Oh, Meryl? Okay.
Yeah. Do you remember that? It's a signed book of his, an autobiography, and a picture of his.
Yeah, he had it like
glossy.
his the thing he would submit when he goes out for parts, his headshot,
Yeah.
signed.
Yeah, and I had it up on my wall. I took it down. I got to find it because I thought it was just classic, and I was so drawn to it when I saw it. I'm like, I'm bringing this home. I think I paid like $20 for it, but yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
Half the people won't know.
No.
No one.
No.
They're like, is it your dad? I'm like, no.
But they know Fantasy Island. Like if you say
Yes.
Fantasy Island,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
They'll know that, but they
The
don't
plane,
know.
the plane.
Which was a very creepy show when you look in retrospect. That show did not age well.
It is creepy. I thought it was creepy way back then.
Yeah, there was something weird about it, but yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'm bringing y'all back into.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. We have
Let's go.
wandered through like newspapers and TV shows of the 80s. I've enjoyed every minute of this.
It depends on our guests. Normally, it's either heavy me, heavy Jackie. This is heavy Jackie day because she loves this stuff. She loves
Which means it's
strategy,
productive.
and I know it is. I'm usually brought in once a lot of that stuff's in motion, and I'm coming up with messaging and things like that. And that's when I kind of get excited. That's what I was asking about the business model because it's just interesting to me. I was curious. What is your ideal size of a community? Like how small can you go and how big can you go?
Depends. Okay. So there's single family, right? So communities that have individual homes, and then there's multifamily, so apartments. So when you think about building out, there are different costs associated with building to every single home in a community versus building up in a building. So when you're building up in a building, our minimum is 150 units. When it's single family, it's 200 units.
Okay.
And then we have them all the way up to over 5,000 homes in a community. And
Wow.
I haven't looked lately, but I think we're over 150 communities that we service.
That's awesome. And then
Yeah.
how long is the contract period? Is it
I
10
was
years,
thinking the
20
same
years?
thing,
Yeah.
8 to 10 years. So
Yeah.
it's a significant contract. And that's
Right.
what's hard for board members, right? Like you're living next door to all these folks. You want to do the right thing by the community. You want to do the right thing by your neighbors. It's a lot of pressure on them. So that's one of the things that we're going to try and help facilitate for them is here's communication. Here's how you talk to your residents. Here are things to keep in consideration when you're going through this process. Because that's a hard position to be in, right? But we always try and do everything that we can to help them
Right.
through that process.
Have you already started having the renewals and started to do marketing for retention?
Yes. Yeah, we do have some renewals. We've actually been working on it for quite some time. Just means that you've been around and doing this for 8 to 10 years.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So we are working on that. It's going really well. I think our latest was we were at 99% renewal rate.
Wow.
The process of building out fiber, it's not easy. It's
Right.
construction in your neighborhood. And so folks don't want to go through that again. You already have the fiber.
Right.
So you don't need to go rebuild the fiber. We own the fiber.
Right.
So, like it's just easy. Unless you've totally screwed it up and not taken care of your customers, you should be able to renew.
I would agree. And not that I would want this to happen, but at 99%, that tells me it's happened at least once. And I'm curious. So they go with somebody else. You go take your fiber back or you sell it to them?
No, in that one case, that community was having some financial struggles and they just turned to retail.
Got it.
So they took it out as part of the HOA
Wow.
kind of dues and
Right.
they went retail. So then that kind of leaves the customers, the residents in a tough position. because,
Yeah.
Trust me, their rate's going up when you
Oh,
go
yeah.
retail because you're competing. Like
Right.
if I can service the whole building, I can give you a really good rate. If I
Right.
can only service a third of it, I
Right.
got to still pay to service the whole building.
Right. No, it makes a big difference. A big difference. Linda, this was fascinating. This is the stuff I love. I love talking about the strategy of it, and going into a new market is something we don't get to talk about a lot. So, thank you for being so willing to share those challenges because a lot of companies approach this as a one size fits all. I'm marketing to the U.S. That is not how this works.
No.
And so this was a great reminder of how important it is to really know your target audience, and geographically, your audience will change.
Yeah. And if you don't, then find somebody that does, right? That you can trust. And that's what we went and did, and finding the PR agency, hiring locally. That was so critical.
Yeah.
Well, it was
I
funny.
loved doing this. I love talking about
Well,
strategy,
before-
marketing, and planning.
Before you wrap up, I was looking through your social media channels, and I can tell, by looking at this, like, so Facebook, you have 2,000 followers. Instagram, it's like less than 1,000, and then you get to LinkedIn, and it's 15,000. So obviously, there is a channel that works for you and for who you're talking to, and you can tell clearly by the followers on your channels. And I'm just curious, is there an approach to that you try to go after?
When you think about what we're trying to do is sign these long-term contracts, that's builders, developers. So I wouldn't call retirees necessarily on LinkedIn, but it's a B2B play.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Our Facebook customers tend to be our end users. And, they'll follow or have a comment or two, which they lovely do. But LinkedIn is more where we're doing that B2B
Yeah.
play. And that's
Right.
where we really communicate about bulk contracts versus a Facebook where we're talking about residential services.
Yeah.
No, I love that. Linda, this was great. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you. And for the people out there who live in Houston or Dallas, make sure you're making the right choice with your internet.
And the state of Florida, Blue Stream Fiber,
Well,
way to go.
State of Florida, you already got Florida. They're already all blue streamers, but it's the new places that I want to make sure.
Yes.
Look, y'all hit the show notes because you'll know how to follow Linda, how to get in touch with Blue Stream, and how to learn from a marketing expert. Thank y'all for listening.
Thank you.
What am I to do when the day is through?